It is October 17th. It was my first consultation to talk about my fertility and to talk about egg freezing. I had a call with the nurse. The first step was really this consultation where she walked me through the process, allowed me to ask any questions. We talked about whether or not I wanted to continue. What's good is the next step, it's not, okay, let's extract the eggs and freeze them. The next step is actually going through some tests. So it's going to be a series of blood tests. There's going to be an ultrasound as well. And this is supposed to test my ovarian reserve and determine whether or not it makes sense for me to move forward with freezing my eggs right now, or whether or not I am not a good candidate to do it, or whether I should wait to do it. Luckily, I live in Ontario. Most of the tests are covered under OHIP, which is the Ontario Health Insurance Plan. Shout out to public healthcare here in Canada. Because of that, at least for the preliminary tests, almost everything is covered by OHIP with the exception of one test, and this will cost $108 Canadian. Not a crazy amount. So I would have these tests. It's supposed to be timed with my next period. When I spoke to the nurse today, it was actually either going to be the first day of my period or maybe tomorrow is the first day of my period. So that means if I get all of my paperwork sorted out, I can actually potentially have these tests scheduled for this week. Probably 4 to 6 weeks after the test is when I will have an appointment with a physician from the fertility clinic, and then we'll talk about the results of my tests and what a potential plan could be. Before the end of this year, I could have results back and I could have that conversation with the doctor to determine whether or not I am a good candidate to be freezing my eggs. Here is why I want to freeze my eggs. Despite my youthful demeanor, I am actually in my 30s. I am 33, which I consider to still be young. However, I recognize that the reality is for women. I think we have kind of this time pressure on us. As I get older and I have my friends who are in their 30s and we're sharing stories, I hear so much now about fertility and the challenges that people have. I feel like growing up, no one really warned me about what that's like. I know that you hear about, families pressuring you because your parents want grandkids. Thankfully, my parents have never pressured me to get married. They've never pressured me to produce grandchildren or anything. I know that after going on TV and coming into money, I'm in a privileged position because I do have the means to be able to undertake this costly procedure. And when I think about my future, for me, this is a worthwhile investment. I am supportive of anybody's stance in terms of whether or not they want children. I've just always known I wanted to have my own children. At the same time, there is so much ahead for me and there's so much opportunity available to me in terms of my career. I've always been someone who's ambitious. The experience of being on TV and being a winner, it showed me even more than I thought was possible is available to me. I just don't know if I see it in the cards for myself to be able to have a child in the next few years. And I feel like if I don't take this opportunity, I could be in a situation years from now when, I feel like my career is in a better place and I have the partner that I want to start a family with, and physically I wouldn't be able to do it. It's being able to do what I can now to create the best chances of having that opportunity available to me in the future. Maybe this is where I'm more traditional, but I've always had the dream of having children. Should it not work out, I know there's going to be another way. I know I could adopt. There are other ways for me to become a parent. If I could paint the picture for where ideally my life ends up, I would want a career that I'm proud of, a career where I can be creative, where I can tell stories that entertain people or inspire people. I know I'll eventually find a partner who understands that I'm ambitious and that I'm gonna go for things, but we'd have the same values when it came to having a family, where it's this commitment to knowing that we need to do whatever we need to do to create this household where everyone feels safe and loved and supported and accepted and celebrated for who they are. I'm okay to wait for that. I'm okay to wait for that part of the dream to come true. I think it's going to be an emotional process. I didn't think I would get emotional recording this today, to be honest. I thought I would just tell you about having blood tests this week or a phone call, but here we are.